Namaskar, welcome to Wide Angle with Ashok Vyas. I'm Ashok Vyas, of course. That is clear by the name of the show. But as I saw myself on the screen behind the camera through which I'm reaching you, I felt a palpable presence of Pramukh Swamiji Maharaj from both sides on the screen. And the good fortune of his company in this frame comes to me thanks to someone who has written a wonderful book called Achieve Emotional Freedom. And Mayur T. Dalal ji is, of course, known for being a wealth management expert, but more important than wealth, it is the wisdom that he has shared over the period of many years, thanks to the special grace of Pramukh Swamiji Maharaj. So I have the pleasure and honor of welcoming Mayurji to our studio. Namaste.
Namaste, Ashok Bhai.
Mayurji, before we come to your book, talk to me a little bit about what helps you in sustaining your happiness.
If you see yourself as a medium through which Sadguru, your parents, your teachers and your mentors give you purpose in life, reason for life and love of life. So for me, happiness is sum total of all that.
Talking about happiness relating to vision of life or clarity of life, which you have mentioned in your book also, but let us go to your childhood days or teenage when you were trying to figure out what I want to do with myself, my life. How you determined and structured your dream, the path that was to be taken?
From the childhood, I had a dream that I wanted to become cancer specialist. And little did I know what kind of cancer I will be curing when I grow up. But serving people, doing seva for the people, and helping sick people was my passion. And my grandfather, who used to kind of instill deeper values in me right from the early childhood, had said that gentleman act of kindness done selflessly every single day of your life is a purpose of your life. So what a better training, what a better thing. So when I was young, I was growing up, my father used to tell me there is no second chance for first impression.
Wow.
There is no second chance for first impression. तो कभी कभी हम सोचते थे कि ये फर्स्ट इम्प्रेशन क्या होती है. फिर उन्होंने बताया कि इट्स नॉट व्हाट यू से, इट इज़ हाउ अदर्स रिसीव. That makes it as a first impression. So if you connect with heart, collaborate with heart, and stay compassionate with heart, with every human being, that's a selfless act of kindness. तो बचपन से मेरे को एक ही सीख दी गई थी कि आप कितने पढ़े लिखे हो वो बहुत कम लोग याद रखेंगे, लेकिन आप उनके टाइप में जब बैठे हो, when you're sitting with somebody and the impression that you leave behind, are you truly genuinely connected with that person for his or her well-being? That's your knowledge, that's your education. Rest is literacy.
So Mayur, I feel in very little time you have packed a lot of inspiring insight for us. And if I try to backtrack when you said there is no second chance for first impression, wonderful quotable quote. And then you also said that it is not what you do or what you say, but the way it is perceived.
An experience.
No, it is perceived by the other person. That is the impression which would stay with them.
Correct.
So you do not have any control in that direction where his perception begins, his or her perception area begins. You have no control. So does that kind of take away your ability, your meaning any individual's ability to create good impression, because if they don't want to take good impression, they'll take bad either way.
There are two parts to this. First part is doing good, feeling good. So when you're doing good and feeling good, it's never about looking good. So your behaviors should not be contingent upon how others perceive you. But if you were in their place, what would they do if they were you? And that's what I call it as a formula of care, compassion, affection, respect and empathy. If you do this four to every interaction with every living human being you have, you're putting yourself into their shoes. So before you open your mouth and share the things that you're going to share, if you put yourself into their shoes, your connection with them will be different. Your compassion about them will be different. Your affection will be genuine. Respect for who they are and what they stand for will be genuine. So empathy becomes a way of life. And once they feel that empathy, they experience that empathy, there is no perception.
Absolutely true. And that transparency of clear-cut reaching with genuineness, how that happens, certain steps are also given in this book, which is achieve emotional freedom. And talking about an emotional aspect of your life, in this book you have been generous in sharing some of your own personal experiences and stages of life. That includes the period when you were with your father at his last stage. And I remember you mentioned that he was very appreciative of what you did, and he also appreciated the fact that people knew him by your work also. It is, I would say, greatness of parents that they appreciate. But as a child, as a son, whatever be your age, that missing space is always a difficult sort of a vacuum. And yet there are inspiration and life goes on, as we say. Having said all that, my question to you, Mayurji, is how that period when you witnessed him leaving and he was almost aware that he won't be there for long, and that you have mentioned in the book. So tell me memory of that period and how that changed your perception of life.
Mortality is part of life. He had lost his mother when he was 3-year-old. He lost his father when he was 45-year-old. And I lost my father when he was 65-year-old and I was 40-year-old. So when you go through the transition, I have seen pains in his eyes because he was head of the household, and at a relatively young age he had adopted a lot of responsibility. So when I was the oldest son and child in his family, and he said that for 30 years he observed me for what I did and who I was and what I stood for. And he said that I knew I may or may not make it. He suffered bladder tumor. And I was with him for 3 weeks. And he said to me, I'm today giving you all the 25 letters that you had written to me and sharing with you that you hated my guts for being so tough with you, so strict with you. But I always wanted to be known as your father, not you known as my son. So today I'm sharing with you that not only you have shared that and made it as a reality, but I am now requesting you, asking you to take over what I have been doing as a head of the household. So at the age of 40, I was given responsibility to take care of my family. And even though I was on the other side of the world, they are all in India and I am here in USA, the connection with the heart, with my mother, my brothers, sisters, uncles, aunties. Everyone had been so strong that I never felt I was away. So the teachings that he gave me of what there is no second chance to make first impression, whether it related to elders, whether it related to youngers, it related to nephews and nieces, whether it related to all of the social and emotional responsibility, I always kept that in front of me. If my father would have been alive, what he would have done. And that's exactly, I put myself into his shoes and I did. So he's never left me. In spirit, he's still with me, even though he's gone 21 years.
Mayur, I appreciate you sharing that with us. And now, the book says achieve emotional freedom. So, what is it that you would say is emotional bondage? Let us begin from the other side.
The word emotion is anything that moves your thought. Emotion. So if you are engaged, if you are empowered, if you are excited, or if you are endangered, it moves your thought. When you feel endangered, you feel worried. When you feel you're on the top of the game, you feel very excited. So when you are given the opportunity, when you are presented the privilege, would you like to be the person that others look up to? Or would you like to be the person that always look up to others? It requires us to take charge of three things in life. First one, which is the most critical part of life, is what does it take you to deliver 200% of what you got? Most people today feel entitled that they are working time bound, they are working space bound, they are working job bound, they are working role bound. So they are not giving 200%. They are measured by others and they are becoming slaves of the systems that are being created. Those who are few and far in between, there are several classic examples in the Indian community. Everyone knows name of Dhirubhai Ambani. He never went by role, space and time. He did whatever it took to make it happen. And that's why he became emotionally free. When you become emotionally free, you are far more energetic. Everyone saw him as a driver of the energy of Reliance Industries. Everyone saw him as the inspiration to the entire community that he epitomized. But no one saw, in the deep down, it was his mother who inspired. It was his dada who inspired. It was his wife Kokilaben who inspired to give him a whole new purpose in life. So in the word emotional freedom, most of us have become victims of, and we have developed a mindset of victim, because of which we are not able to live to the fullest potential that God has presented us with. And that is the single reason why people feel deprived.
I'm sorry to be interrupting you, because everything that you are saying makes so much sense. But just to sort of underline some of the points that you mentioned, you began by saying that everyone is distracted, and that is true. And then I was trying to see where it is connecting with the emotional bondage or emotional freedom. And then you move towards something I would say economic freedom also, when you talked about Dhirubhai Ambani, and then you were also referring to being job bound or space bound, or that tells me that mostly people calculate that this much I am getting, so I should give this much. What you say 200% probably happens when you are doing your own business many times. Even there it may or may not happen. But the key question is the purpose. which you mentioned he got from his mother. Now, that which right now you're referring to as purpose, how it connects to emotional freedom?
Beautiful. One of the most easiest thing today is speed and efficiencies are considered to be productivity. Most younger generations or senior generations spend on an average 6 hours a day on any form of social media. They communicate their thoughts, they communicate their decisions, they communicate their feelings by text messaging. They are sending it out and thinking after they have sent out. In the emotional freedom, when you have communication across the table, you are able to have a three-dimensional view of person sitting across you, sitting with you, sitting by your side. And in text messaging or any social media, you only have two dimensions. So as a result of which, the emotional bonding that existed prior to invention of the internet has been sacrificed, and today everybody is saying, I'm sorry, I'm so busy, I don't have the time. I'm so busy, but I'm not able to address this. When it comes down to the prioritization of the time, what makes somebody emotionally free is fulfillment, happiness, joy, instant gratification, and doing the things that needs to be done. They create time for those projects, whether it is family members. If you were to tell somebody that you have to take care of your grandpa, he is sick in the hospital, uncle, I'm so sorry, I will come and see them over the weekend. Oh, by the way, he wants to talk about giving you $2 million through his trust. How soon? How soon? Okay. Dadaji wants to give me, I can't believe it. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Oh, okay. Let me just change my appointments and let me see what else I can. Now, this is something which is not the humor part of it, but that's the harsh reality of it. That today the instant gratification, if somebody is saying, I don't have the time, oh, by the way, by doing this, they're going to call you for recognition for this thing. They change the priority because they are looking for attention. They are seeking recognition. They are looking for instant gratification. So in the emotional freedom or deprival of that, the only reason that is conscious awareness.
And we also both have the form of Pramukh Swamiji Maharaj behind us in the frame, and we didn't talk much about religion or spirituality directly, but everything was like that. So talk to me a little bit about when there are saints who are respected, adored by a lot of people, then there is attention seeking even in that realm also. So you feel that, oh, Swamiji didn't even look at me, or Swamiji spent so much time. So that becomes sort of an ego game sometimes. So briefly touch this, but talk more about your impressions or how Pramukh Swamiji Maharaj helped you move towards clarity at a faster pace, or what role do you think has been?
They always say that when the student is ready, teacher shows up. In 1988, when I was fortunate enough that one of our very dear friend, Dr. Harshad Bhatt, who was devout devotee of Pramukh Swamiji, he said, Mayur bhai, can you please come to take blessings from our Guru? And when you understand the purity, serenity, tranquility, and simplicity, you rarely come across all four qualities in one human being at the same time. In 5 minutes that I spent with him, in that first 5 minutes, the simplicity with which he connected with me, purity with which he touched my heart, tranquility with which he purified my mind, and the enlightenment that he gave me, he just held my hand and he says, if I ask you for something, will you please offer me? And I said, "You sure, Swamiji?" And he said, "But it's not money. It's not money." And in the very next day, if he entrusts you with the responsibility for helping the organization that you didn't know anything about, when you talk about clarity, he had the clarity. And when I met him much more and several hours thereafter, he understood who I was and what I stood for. It took me more time to understand, because he gave me access, he gave me acceptance, and he gave me gift of humility. At the level that he was operating, for him to come down at a level and help me understand and lift me up spiritually, emotionally, personally, relationally, and give me responsible of an organization that he spearheaded globally to a new, absolutely rookie, no idea, it requires a lot of clarity on his part. And my personal interaction over 21 years with him, I'll only share with you. You need to be very blessed for someone to purify and clean up your past experiences, help you see the clean slate of the present, and create distinctly clear, purer, and brighter future. I have been very blessed to have that guru that has helped me do that.
I will only clap here and I won't say much. And before we conclude, I once again would like to thank Pramukh Swami Maharaj for inspiring this gentleman, for doing not a lot of things, but also coming up with this book that also is inspired by Pramukh Swami Maharaj, I gather. And the complete title of the book is Achieve Emotional Freedom and Grow Your Relationships Exponentially. And there is one value-based family governance, some roadmap which is given, roadmap to 10x lifetime growth.
Mm-hmm.
And we won't get into the details, but I'll just mention the major points. So you mentioned that clarity leads to courage,
Mm-hmm.
courage to commitment,
Mm-hmm.
and then commitment goes for communication,
Mm-hmm.
and communication to confidence,
Mm-hmm.
and then confidence to desired outcome.
Correct.
So you reach to your destination with the help of Mayur Dalalji. When you became emotionally free, there is nothing that you are going to hold back. You are ready to give as much as you can, which he mentioned 200%. We can go to 500,000%, doesn't matter. Basically, all that is there is to be offered, because you cannot take anything back from here. But such a pleasure having you with us, Mayur bhai.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your presence.
And I would only say as a parting gift that liberation, or to become liberated from all of the energies that is depriving you in life, is your choice. It's not your privilege. When you empower others and you liberate others from their own limitations and toxic energies, you grow 10x. So this is a wonderful world, wonderful opportunity, and wonderful time. So if any of the viewers or readers would love to have a copy of the gift, if they reach out to you and mention, we would be happy to give it as our gift to them.
The email ID where also you can reach directly to the author for the book, which is mdalal8688@gmail.com. Mayur Dalal at 8688@gmail.com. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashok.
It was indeed a pleasure to be talking to Mayur Dalalji, and you feel a sense of expansion and joy, and that happens naturally when there is purity of love, which again I would mention comes by the blessings of sages, and in this case special grace of Pramukh Swami Maharaj, with lots of good wishes, my wife,
Thank you.
and with good wishes to grow to your fullest potential. This is Ashok Vyas.